Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Regulation D VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be trying out a really fun Pokemon in Regidrago. Regidrago has a lot of potential in this format because Dragon Energy and Dragon-type attacks in general just deal massive amounts of damage. Now, obviously, Fairy-type Pokemon can be annoying for Dragon-type, so this is a Steel Tera Tera Blast Regidrago to help you out against those Fairy-type Pokemon in particular. The team also has some really strong offense in things like Choice Specs on Gholdengo as well as Choice Scarf Landorus, and you've got Indeedee with Rocky Helmet Water Tera for a Trick Room component as well. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below. And thank you so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, would really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a ton. Anyway, let's dive into things. As always, rental, pace, and team creator for the team are linked down in the description below. And question of the day, I want to know how you would buff the old Regi trio down in the comment section below. Now, the first Pokemon to talk about is Regidrago. Regidrago fulfills a really interesting role in the format. First of all, it gets access to Dragon Energy, which is such a powerful attack. It is basically like a Dragon-type version of Eruption or Water Spout, does damage based on the percentage of the HP that you have. And the idea is that you can pair it with Tornadus, set up Tailwind, and just deal massive amounts of damage with Draco Plate boosted Dragon Energy. Often, if you just get one really strong Dragon Energy off into both of your opponent's Pokemon, and neither of those Pokemon resist or are immune to it, you can just completely open up the game. Now, obviously, there are some types that can resist Dragon-type attacks, such as opposing Steel-type Pokemon, and you also have Fairy-type Pokemon, which are completely immune to it. So, you also have Tera Blast here with Steel Tera to help you out against those types. Like, for example, against Fairy types, Fluttermane is everywhere in the format. Having Steel Tera plus Tera Blast allows you to hit it for super effective damage, which is really nice. Sometimes people like using Choice Scarf or Choice Specs on Regidrago, but then you really struggle against opposing Fairy types when you lock into a Dragon-type attack. So, pretty straightforward, just max special attack, max speed, and the main idea is to find one or two big turns where you can get, the most strong Dragon Energy off. So Tornadus is here to enable the Regidrago. This is a very bulky set. You've got the Mental Orb here, so if you're up against opposing Tornaduses, if they taunt you, then the Mental Orb gets rid of the taunt, and then you can Tailwind in return. One of the problems is running slower Tornadus is if you don't have Mental Orb, you just get taunted, and then you get shut down immediately. So this helps out a ton, and this is basically the standard Tornadus moveset. Ghost Tera here to help you against Fake Out from turn 1, as well as something like Extreme Speed from Dragonite with Champao, for example. So Torndrago, really effective lead with this team. You also have Choice Specs Gholdengo, which does massive amounts of damage. The general idea behind this team is obviously you just have some of the most powerful spread type attacks with Make It Rain here. You'll notice Gholdengo has the Water Tera. A lot of people like using Steel Tera on Specs Gholdengo, so I think it's just kind of a team building decision. Water Tera helps out more defensively into, for example, opposing Water Urshifu. One combo that can be scary to go up against is like Mystic Water Urshifu with Rain Dance from Tornadus, and so Water just helps out a little bit more defensively here. To round things out, you've got Scarf Landorus Therian. This is Advent max speed, and you've got a little bit of bulk investment as well, and pretty straightforward. The idea behind Landorus is just to be able to deal a lot of damage while annoying your opponent with Intimidate. I think Stomping Tantrum is a move that people didn't use in earlier generations when it wasn't an actual move, but it's really nice on Scarf Lando because it just gives you a single target attack. Earthquake, for example, not the most reliable, and with this team, you only have one Pokemon that is immune to it, so it can be a little awkward to lock yourself into Earthquake with it, but Earthquake obviously synergizes really nicely with Tornadus, where you can lead Tornadus Landorus and just potentially Earthquake immediately while Tailwinding. To round things out, you've got Water Urshifu. This is as standard as it gets. Not really much to say about it. It's just designed to deal a lot of damage. You got Focus Sash, so you can survive for a little bit longer. A lot of people like running Scarf or Mystic Water, for example, but Sash just means that you can take one big attack like a Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast from Fluttermane and retaliate back with Surging Strikes. The last Pokemon on this team I think is really interesting because it's Indeedee. Now, Indeedee feels a little bit out of place here, right? Because it's not like the team has setup, for example. Indeedee loves being paired with Pokemon that want to boost their stats. Indeedee also loves setting up Trick Room. Now, on this team, it doesn't really look like a Trick Room team, right? You're actually running a ton of speed on almost everything, so why does Indeedee exist on this team? Well, Indeedee as a standalone Pokemon is still pretty valuable into the format. First of all, Psychic Terrain is really nice in just denying priority attacks. And what this means is potential priority from Extreme Speed, from Dragonite, Sucker Punch from Chiampao, Aqua Jet from Urshifu, and opposing Prankster priority moves as well. So Indeedee can block all of those by setting up Psychic Terrain. In addition, Tailwind teams are fairly common in this format, and what Indeedee can do is set up Trick Room against those opposing Tailwind teams. I think if your opponent sees this team in Team Preview, they're just going to try to set up Tailwind from Tornadus most of the time, and so, for example, if you bring Indeedee out, well, then you can set up Trick Room, and Gholdengo and Regidrago are Pokemon that can function both inside Trick Room and under Tailwind, which is kind of cool, right? There are still a good amount of Pokemon that can outspeed both of these, such as Fluttermane, such as Chien-Pao, such as Tornadus, Urshifu, for example. So the idea is that Indeedee can really help out against those ultra fast teams by setting up Trick Room, and the combination of Water Tera plus Rocky Helmet is really nice, especially against opposing Water Urshifu. So a lot of different ways that you can play with this team. I generally think about leading Tornadus, and before that, actually, I think about speed control on average, right? So Tornadus is going to be the default speed control option, but Indeedee can work as well, and then it's pairing both of those, right? So like Tornadus, Drago, Tornadus, really with any of the attackers I think are really valuable. The one lead I wouldn't recommend with this team is Torn Indeedee. It just feels like you can't really do very much, and you kind of contradict kind of the speed control that you want to go for by going with both of those, and there's like no offensive pressure with this duo, but I think Torn with any of the others works. I really like Torn Drago, Torn Gholdengo in particular, just to pressure with immediate amounts of damage. And then the idea is just pick two more in the back that can complement and finish up the game for you. So yeah, that's it for a quick breakdown. Now let's quickly highlight some weaknesses. So in terms of things to watch out for, I think the first thing to note is that with Regidrago, the Tera usage is really important. And I think in most of the games that I've lost with this team, it's to me basically using Tera too early on something else, not really thinking about the long game, and then my opponent has something that can hit Regidrago for super effective, like Fluttermane, for example, right? Because if you don't Tera the Regidrago, then in the late game, it can't really do very much against those opposing fairy types. So that's something you have to keep in mind. Even though you do have a really good answer into those fairy types, if you don't get the Tera onto this, then you end up being potentially walled by them. So that's one thing to keep in mind in particular. I think another thing is that Regidrago often won't get multiple really strong dragon energies off, and so if your opponent is able to like protect one Pokemon, the other Pokemon survives and does massive amounts of damage to Regidrago, that can also be pretty limiting. I think this team does rely on spread attacks pretty frequently. So you've got Earthquake, Rock Slide here, Dragon Energy, and Make It Rain. So if you have Wide Guard, for example, that can be really tough to fight against. I think with Gholdengo, Make It Rain obviously feels tempting to click, but a lot of times your opponent will have something that can resist it, right? And so choosing what move to lock into with Gholdengo is a big decision for this team as well, because I think switching isn't necessarily the easiest, right? Like if you have Tornadus, Gholdengo, maybe Landorus is the best switch in the back. You could bring in Indeedee, but I think Indeedee is kind of an awkward Pokemon in the back. I think if I'm normally committing with Tornadus, Gholdengo, I'm not going to have this in the back. And so Landorus is maybe your best switch in. It feels bad to switch in Drago because then you lose damage from Dragon Energy if it gets hit, and then you lose your Sash on Urshifu if that gets hit. So that's something to watch out for as well. I think basically, in most of the games I've lost, I've taken like negative trades. There was one game I was playing for practice where my opponent led Rillaboom plus Dark Urshifu, and not knowing the Urshifu type in Team Preview made things challenging, and I led Tornadus Gholdengo. And I was like, okay, I can make the safe play of just going for Ghost Tera here and fake out, go for Ghost Tera to prevent that fake out, and then Tailwind Make It Rain. But my opponent just played around the turn one, right? They didn't bother going for Fake Out, and they just went for Knockoff onto Tornadus with Rillaboom, and then just Wicked Blow onto Gholdengo. I lost Gholdengo immediately. Knockoff did 70% to Tornadus, and Make It Rain did a lot of damage to both of my opponent's Pokemon, but not enough to get the knockout. I then brought out Regidrago, and then Regidrago went for Dragon Energy, and they went for Sucker Punch on a Drago. I switched Torn into Landorus. Sucker Punch crits the Drago, and I pretty much just lose the game off that alone, but they also had Fluttermane in the back, right? And because I had lost Gholdengo in the early game and did not conserve my Tera for Regidrago, I just lost to a late game Fluttermane sweep from that position. So that's an example of a game in which I lost momentum very quickly. I wasn't taking positive trades, and the game just slipped out of my control very early on. So yeah, that's it for a breakdown. Let's get into these battles. Okay, we've got a pretty cool team here. Landorus, Pelipper, Hisuian Arcanine, Gholdengo, Rillaboom, and Chien-Pao. It's interesting. I feel like with Chien-Pao, I would expect to see Dragonite. With Pelipper, I would expect to see something like Basculegion or Urshifu. A lot of individual pieces. I think Wide Guard from Pelipper is something to watch out for here. So you might want to be a little bit careful about that. Regidrago can put in a ton of work with Dragon Energy otherwise. Gholdengo's a little bit scary to go up against as well, so that's something to consider. I don't know, I'm thinking about just Tornadus and Drago here. Even if you Wide Guard, like, I can just Bleak Wind Storm Dragon Pulse you. Torn Drago. Scarf Landorus here feels pretty good. Able to, like, Scarf Stomping or U-Turn. I don't think we bring Indeedee here. The main reason to do it would be to change the terrain. Don't think it's necessary. So that's either Urshifu or Golden Go. I mean, Golden Go does have Thunderbolt here as well, which makes it actually interesting to consider leading with. Okay, I kind of like Urshifu more here. I think Sash is just nice. Surging Strikes into Chien-Pao, Golden Go. Arcanine's really valuable. But ideally, we just go for like Tailwind and Dragon Energy. That's kind of the obvious combo that you would expect from this team. So I think most of, the opponents I play against this team will anticipate that. So we'll see what they bring. Arcanine and Rillaboom. Okay. Honestly, with this, I think we can just double protect turn 1 into Tailwind and Dragon Energy turn 2. I'm pretty happy with that. What's the worst that they could do here? I guess switch into Pelipper, but then if you switch into Pelipper, I can just Bleak Wind Storm. I guess like Rillaboom going out into Pelipper would be interesting here, but they're just going to commit a Terra, which is honestly A-okay with me. You would think it's a defensive Terra, right? Arcanine. Fairy Arcanine. That'll do it. Okay. That's pretty cool. Definitely did not anticipate that. With that, then, my main question is whether or not I want to go for Steel Tera and just Tera Blast the Arcanine instead. I don't know how bulky the Arcanine is. So they go Fake Out into Tornadus. Yep. Tera Blast. Okay, given that that's the surprise my opponent has, I mean, one, I definitely didn't expect that, but I think we can just go for Tailwind now, Steel Tera, and Tera Blast them. Even if it doesn't KO in return, I think the likelihood of them clicking Flare Blitz onto Drago feels relatively slim, so Rillaboom pivots out. I think if you're running Tera Blast Fairy Tera like that, I would expect it to be Assault Vest or Choice Band on Hisuian Arcanine. If they end up Flare Blitzing here, that's an incredible play by them. But, yeah, I don't think we get the KO here, but that's fine. Maybe we get the knockout if you have no bulk and you're not Assault Vested, but I don't know. AV makes a lot of sense here if you're running Tera Blast. But we're going to Steel Terra here, get Tailwind up. So now we can start clicking up Bleak Wind Storm. Here's Steel Tera Tera Blast. Okay, now super effective into the Arcanine. Almost gets the knockout. Wow. Okay. Nice. And they just Tera Blast. Perfect. Beautiful. Man, that did so much damage. I really feel like its Choice Band did. This is a little bit scary, mainly because I might miss Bleak Wind Storm, but I think we just click Bleak Wind here. And Dragon Energy covers for a switch. It's whether or not we think it would do enough with Bleak Wind. I think the answer is yes, personally. Okay, like, we could just pick up a double KO here. I mean, is there actually incentive for them to switch Arcanine out? Personally, I think they'd stay in. Maybe we just guarantee more damage with Dragon Pulse. It's actually kind of close based off our HP range. It's mainly the spread. I'll go for Pulse. Arcanine did switch, though. Okay. Into Rillaboom. That's fine. And good Protect. Okay, yeah, so Dragon Energy actually would have been the correct play there. I mean, this is still fine, though, right? It's like, now I can just double Protect. You're healing me up thanks to your grassy terrain, which is pretty awesome. Nah, we do miss Bleak Wind as well. Okay, that's a little unfortunate. It's fine. Yeah, I mean, double Protect is the obvious play, but I think I'm still fine with it, right? Because then I can just Bleak Wind plus Dragon Energy and then double Protect Tailwind again. So it's like, you can cycle your Fake Out all you want, but this grassy terrain is honestly really paying off right now. I think given that switch, it indicates to me they are Choice Band. I mean, it just did so much damage into the Drago, so yeah. I think Dragon Energy plus Bleak Wind probably would have KO'd the Chien-Pao anyway, so it was objectively just better to go for Energy there. I wonder if there was a world in which Energy plus Bleak Wind just gets the knockout onto a Assault Vest Rillaboom. But I'm fine just going for this right now and then Dragon Energy Bleak Wind next turn. Yep. I mean, fake out Sacred Sword here would make sense. Maybe fake out Ice Spinner into Torn. Ah, they're actually running Icicle Crash. So some people are running Icicle Crash over Spinner. It makes a lot of sense on this team in particular because you don't want to get rid of your own grassy terrain, but it also helps because you get around Rocky Helmet, which is a really good item right now. So yeah, I'm just going to go Bleak Wind and Dragon Energy now. You would expect the Chien-Pao to protect and then Rillaboom to maybe go for a... What would you do here? Maybe a ground type attack onto the Drago would be their best play. So I think the one turn I could have played better... Oh, they actually switched. Into what? Arcanine? Yeah, I mean, that works for me, right? Like, I guess if we miss another Bleak Wind, it's a little bit awkward. See if they protect Chien-Pao. Yep. Like, they're just not really getting that much, right? Like, my Regidrago has been able to heal up thanks to their grassy terrain. I can just set up Tailwind again, right? Like, double protect Tailwind is just so effective here. So, Bleak Wind does connect, gets rid of Arcanine. And that's a big knockout to get because now it clears the way for Regidrago to just click Dragon Energy consistently. Earlier, the problem was my opponent having an immunity to it, but this is where Steel Tera is just really helpful. So, it's been kind of a long game so far, but I don't know. My opponent hasn't really threatened me with damage, and it's really easy to just bypass these fake outs thanks to Protect, right? So, feeling pretty good about the position. Tailwind expires and grassy terrain disappears, but Draco has gotten so much recovery from those last couple of turns, which is awesome. So it's like they bring Rillaboom back out. They're going to continue to heal up Drago. I can just double protect here. Neither of these Pokemon can really capitalize. Like, you know, what helps against double protect is setup, right? But neither of these Pokemon really can set up against me. So I am honestly happy to just double protect again. Yeah, and then just Tailwind Dragon Energy. You don't have Terra anymore, so I can leverage that to my advantage. I think here we could get a little fancy and maybe try attacking with one Pokemon, but like there's really no need to, in my opinion. Like if my opponent wants to just keep cycling Fake Out, I'm just going to use this against them and just keep clicking Protect. Like no reason to play risky, right? And they just Sacred Sword. That's fine. I wonder if that actually knocks out Regidrago. We've healed back enough where I'm thinking maybe we can survive. So let's Tailwind, finally, and Dragon Energy. Yeah, this is the big turn, right? It took us kind of like 8 minutes to get to the point where I can get this really powerful Dragon Energy off, but I'm very happy that we finally positioned ourselves for it. Golden goes their final one, but that's fine, right? Like, we'll bring Chien-Pao down super low. We get Tailwind up. I've got Urshifu in the back, as well as Landorus. And Landorus can just Stomping Tantrum now in this endgame. And look how much that does, right? Like, even Golden Go almost loses half its health there. Cool. And they actually go for Icicle Crash. Okay, that works for me. Yeah, so this is where Urshifu now is kind of the perfect Pokemon to bring out, right? Because, like, you can't protect in front of Urshifu. So, let's just pivot that in. Also, I can't believe Drago is basically healed almost all the way back to full HP in this game. That's kind of funny to me. It is Leftovers Golden Go. Okay. So, it's probably Leftovers, you know, Nasty Plot Water Terra, which would make sense. I can just bring out the Urshifu right now. Okay, 3 turns of Grassy Terrain, 3 turns of Tailwind. A lot of different options we could go for here. Close Combat into Chien-Pao guarantees the knockout onto this. And if you pivot out into Rillaboom, we do a lot of damage there as well. With Landorus in the back, yeah, I'm honestly happy to just guarantee a KO here. So I think like Close Combat and Dragon Energy here is fine. Okay, good play. They actually go for the Sucker Punch. I think that's smart. It does manage to crit me, actually. The other play I could have gone for there, by the way, was just Surging Strikes into Golden Go and then Dragon Energy. I felt like that was the obvious play. Actually, objectively, I think that play is just fine. We probably even KO. I don't know if we KO Urshifu with that, but I mean, now it's a single target Dragon Energy, right? Oh my goodness. Yeah, and they just Shadow Ball. So it's like you knock out Urshifu, but now I have Landorus in this endgame. Cool. And with Landorus, I get an Intimidate into your Rillaboom, and I have Stomping Tantrum. I guess the main thing about the Landorus is, do I actually want to click Stomping, or do I want to click U-Turn instead? I think Drago being able to heal up this much is actually a little scary, so I'd rather lock into Stomping. with this Intimidate, like, the Rillaboom doesn't do that much damage to me anyway. Yep. Okay. But that was a nice play by my opponent. I think if I just went Surging Strikes plus Dragon Energy, that was probably just a double knockout. But I figured I could play this in multiple ways. Just think my last turn was probably suboptimal. 2 turns of Tailwind left. You're intimidated. Grassy Terrain for 2 more turns. I'm down to just Stomping here in Dragon Energy. Like, my opponent's team is pretty bulky, right? Okay, good Protect on Golden Go. But it's a free Dragon Energy. I mean, maybe they end up clicking Fake Out into us, but that's not going to be the case, so cool. I just think Rillaboom doesn't really threaten me that much right now. I guess my fear is like a crit onto the Regidrago. But here's Dragon Energy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and they would hammer. Okay, perfect. No crit. Wonderful. I was also thinking, yeah, Sucker Punch plus Shadow Ball probably doesn't KO Urshifu if you didn't crit that sucker, but I'm not sure. It depends on how much special attack investment the Golden Go has, because most of the time I would expect Golden Go to not be very specially invested. With the leftover set, I normally expect Nasty Plot. But, man, Drago put in so much work in this game. It almost carried the entire game in terms of damage output, right? It did like 90% to the Hisuian Arcanine. Dragon Energy brought Chien-Pao down to Sash. Dragon Energy, 50+% to Rillaboom. Dragon Energy onto Golden Go. So, you're stomping in Dragon Energy, and we'll finish things off. It took a little bit of time to get there. Like, sometimes with this team, you can legitimately just click Tailwind and then Dragon Energy, Dragon Energy, Dragon Energy. But with them having the Hisuian Arcanine, obviously we needed to get rid of that first. But yeah, I think my opponent bringing Rillaboom out in this match, hilariously enough, also helped me because my Drago just continued to heal up turn after turn. So I think the 2 turns I can go back and evaluate in this game in particular are the turn where they actually did switch Hisuian Arcanine into Rillaboom. That was a potential free Dragon Energy turn. I guess in my head, I was worried about, like, Chien-Pao surviving the 60% Dragon Energy plus Bleak Windstorm, but I don't even think it's that much weaker than the Dragon Pulse at that point. And, yeah, it would have come down to whether or not Bleak Wind connected anyway, since it's Focus Sash, so I think Dragon Energy that turn was just objectively more correct. And then the turn when they actually knocked out Urshifu, I think maybe we could have just gone Surging Strikes into Golden Go and Dragon Energy. What's the reason to not do that there, right? Because, like, Surging Strikes would have had the Chien-Pao defense drop as well. That would have just been a double KO. So what's the worst case? Like, they switch Chien-Pao out into Rillaboom, and then Golden Go protects. So then, like, Surging Strike still goes through Protect, but then you heal back from leftovers and Grassy Terrain, and then Rillaboom is Fake Out Pressure next turn. I just wanted to guarantee the knockout because as soon as I got a KO there, I knew that, like, Landers would just be super well positioned. So, yeah. But I think those are the 2 main turns to point to. But, man, Regidrago just put on such a good show in this one, and that's why you want to use it in this format. No way. We are up against Eric Rios, one of the greatest players of all time. He won the European International Championships last year, won a regional championship this year and last year, top 16 at the World Championships last year, top 4 was in the seniors division back in 2014. And yeah, easily one of the all-time greats. Yeah, I think going into Worlds last year, many, including myself, would have considered him the #1 favorite to win that entire tournament. So I'm really excited to see how he performs at Worlds. He's been playing for pretty much a decade at this point. So it should be a fun match. Flutter, Urshifu, Golden Go, Torn, Landers, Chi-Yu. It's a little bit harder for Drago to survive or thrive here. It could still be worth leading. I'm not gonna lie, I actually think going for Trick Room is the right approach in this battle. I'm just trying to figure out how to best position myself for that. Like, I want to lead Indeedee. Man, I really don't know who to support with it. Urshifu, Drago, Golden Go. This is going to be my first time trying the Trick Room mode here, so I don't know if this is the right way to approach it. Basically, my problem is that his team is pretty fast, so even if I set up Tailwind with my Tornadus, I think Drago, Golden Go are still going to be outsped. So I'm going to try to play from the slow end here. And it's like Indeedee has a really good matchup into Tornadus because we set up Psychic Terrain, blocking all of the Prankster moves, which is really nice. And if it is Urshifu, for example, like if it's Torn Urshifu lead, I can just Water Terra NDD turn 1. This also works. Okay, I'm actually really happy to see this lead. I mean, I think the play is just to Water Terra NDD now, and then Trick Room. Surging Strikes into Chi-Yu. I'm a little bit worried about Bleak Windstorm Dark Pulse turn 1 onto NDD. I don't know if that KOs. This NDD is max HP, but it doesn't have much special defense investment. I could Protect on turn 1, honestly. But then a Bleak Wind Heat Wave might cause me issues. I'm going to Terra. Trick Room and Surging Strikes. Okay, so he's going to Terra as well. Maybe Water Chi-Yu. Oh, it's fire. Okay. If it's fire, I feel like then it means you're going for a fire type attack, but then Water NDD here is the perfect counter to that. I was worried about Dark Pulse. This makes me think Specs Heat Wave. Or sorry, Specs Overheat. I wonder if Specs Overheat Bleak Wind can actually KO. That would be nuts. It might just be Heat Wave Bleak Wind and I lose Urshifu, but that trade is actually fine. Okay, it's Sunny Day. And Overheat? No, it's just Heat Wave. That's probably the best possible outcome for us. We should survive, right? Whew, nice. That's huge. Strikes, I think, still gets the knockout here. It's really close. Yeah, nice. Okay, I'm really glad my Trick Room strategy paid off here. I think leading NDD always just feels a little bit weird when your heart's set on setting up Trick Room. Because I thought about Protect Surging Strikes there turn 1 as well, but I just felt like if I could get Trick Room up in this matchup, I'd be in really good shape. They still have a lot... Like, the thing is, by going for this, now, for example, my Regidrago can't Steel Tera, and I think that's one of the biggest issues I've run into, which you can see from that last game, right? Golden Go comes out. I'm really curious how fast Golden Go is here. They Terra'd already. The thing is, this is Eric Rios we're playing against, right? Like, I don't want to give him the opportunity to get back into the game. I also think the likelihood of this being Nasty Plot is pretty slim. So I personally don't mind just going for a Protect here and a Surging Strikes onto the Golden Go. Tornadus is not really the issue right now. And the idea behind this play is to just get a free switch in. Yeah. So he goes for Shadow Ball. Okay. That makes sense. Oh, their Torn is slow. Okay. But we actually wanted that to connect, so I'm happy about that. I guess the awkward thing here is our Golden Go actually has a lot of speed investment. So there's a good chance they outpace me, so I think I have to go for Follow Me here just to make sure. Yeah, Follow Me Shadow Ball here is fine, I think. There's still 3 turns of Trick Room, so Follow Me, Shadow Ball, KO Golden Go. And then I'll have Drago in the back. Yeah, the speed tiers actually make this a little awkward. Like, I would think Flutter's the last one, right? So, like, let's say we get the knockout here, and then Flutter's the last one. I still have 2 turns of Trick Room to work with Golden Go, so I just launch Shadow Ball twice into Flutter. Could be Urshifu. If it's Water Urshifu, that's great. Golden Go actually hard switches, which I think is a great play on his end. Okay, into Flutter. That works. That works. Speed increase. I'm worried about Sash on that. I could have gone Dazzling Shadow Ball. Okay, it's not Sash. Nice. That's huge. And just Bleak Wind. That's fine. I'm making the assumption he's choice specs here. Because, like, I don't know, you just really, I don't think would use Nasty Plot. And there's still 2 turns of Trick Room to work with, so I think Follow Me Shadow Ball here is fine. And then Draco just wins the 1v1 against Horn. Hey, Draco was kind of awkward. I couldn't really bring it out in this battle very easily because they had the Golden Go as well as the Flutter Mane. Even if Golden Go protects here and you Bleak Windstorm, it's fine because then I just get Draco out and I just go for Dragon Energy. Well, yeah, I mean, if you don't have specs, then you probably don't one-shot us. Yeah, they go for Make It Rain, which is definitely the correct play. They were indeed faster with Golden Go, which is why I was going for Follow Me. Because I know I have a lot of speed investment on this Golden Go. So it's kind of awkward where I set up Trick Room, but couldn't really necessarily just sweep under it. I think, like, in an ideal world, I would have been able to set up Trick Room, Steel Tera the Drago, and sweep with it. But it's just not that easy to Steel Tera Drago in this matchup when I'm up against Chi-Yu as a lead, right? So you kind of have to play flexible depending on what your opponent brings. But Golden Go faints now. It's Bleak Wind, I'm sure. That's coming out. Yep. But Golden Go's bulky enough to take even another one. Speed drop, it's fine. And Draco's honestly the perfect last Pokemon here. It just walls Tornadus pretty well. Dragon Pulse probably just KOs in return. So Tornadus probably protects here, but that's fine. Dragon Pulse, Shadow Ball. I also could have gone Dragon Energy there, but I think both of these just KO. And I would expect Torn to protect in this position. But no protect, which makes me think they just don't have it. Bleak Wind, Sunny Day, Tailwind, Taunt maybe. Citrus Berry on Torn, okay. Cool. And here's Dragon Pulse. Yeah, I mean, Dragon Energy is always more optimal to click there, but I figured either would get the KO. But I guess there's really no reason to not click Dragon Energy. So, yeah. I'm happy to feature the Trick Room component with this team because we had prioritized the Tailwind mode earlier, and Tailwind is pretty powerful, but Trick Room can be really good against opposing Tornadus teams. I felt like it was mainly just surviving turn 1, right? It was Life Orb Chi-Yu, so I wonder if Life Orb Dark Pulse plus Bleak Wind would have actually gotten the knockout onto Indeedee. That was my biggest fear. I figured anything else in with the Water Terror would be good. This is why Water Terror is really nice on Indeedee. You know, people were running Fairy Terra in previous formats, but Water Terror is incredible against Urshifu, and Water Urshifu specifically, and also, obviously, in that position, helped us survive that turn 1 Heat Wave, so, yeah. But I think if I had gone for the Tailwind route with this team, it could have worked. I don't know. Maybe, like, if I went Tailwind, like, Torn Urshifu lead, or Torn Landorus lead, knock out Chi-Yu. The thing is, I just, like, wasn't sure if Chi-Yu was actually going to come out as a lead, right? Because I thought the likelihood of that against Urshifu or Landorus actually felt fairly slim. And I think Eric's play on turn 1 was basically, if I am not Sash Urshifu, like, it almost just got the knockout there, right? So the idea is maybe you just go for Sunny Day, Fire Terra, Heat Wave, and pick up a double KO. But because I had Sash on Urshifu and because I knew the Indeedee was Water Terra, yeah, I figured we'd be good there. So just had to be a little bit careful. I think the main thing I could have done to throw this game is if I switched out into my Golden Go and just got sniped by that Choice Spec Shadow Ball. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'll just, like, let you pick up a KO so I get a free switch in because I have that Follow Me support. So, yeah. All right. What do we got here? Interesting. This is almost the team that won the North American International Championships. Alex Gomez used to win in AIC, but that team had Ghost Terra Dragapult, which is actually a really critical component to the team. So it's interesting to see 5 of the 6. Kind of worried about Ting Lu here, honestly. Like, I think the amount of defense the opposing team has is actually a really big problem for us. Maybe I just lead Drago and start Dragon Energy. Because it's like, the only counter to the Drago is Flutter, but I can just go for Steel Terra. What kind of Ting Lu Terra do we expect? Water, probably. Do I actually think Scarf Lando's good here? I like Golden Go because, like, these teams like to use Sand Tomb and Yawn. It's between Landorus then and Urshifu is the final slot. I think them having a Moongus gives me a lot more concern on bringing this. So I'm going to bring Landorus because I get to Intimidate the hands and Stomping Tantrum it. I get to Stomping Fluttermane. And against... Honestly, Landorus has a pretty good matchup into Ting-Lu, right? I guess they would need to, like, Runation Heavy Slam for a knockout. But, yeah. So let's see what they lead. Dozo Ting-Lu. Okay. It's probably Oblivious Dozo, so I can't taunt it, which is part of the problem. So, like, Sand Tomb Yawn here immediately onto Drago is a play that I would expect my opponent to consider making. I'm honestly thinking about switching into Goldengo here. I don't think Torn is really helpful right now. Switching to Goldengo and Protect. Then the next turn I can just pressure with Dragon Energy, Specs T-Bolt. Or Dragon Energy, Make It Rain. I don't know though, this doesn't feel great. Like I'm bringing Goldengo into... Oh, they're going to Terra. Okay, that's already good for us. I think getting a defensive Terra out early is huge. Could be Fairy Ting-Lu, but if you're Fairy Ting-Lu, now I can Make It Rain. Oh, that's huge. Nice. Okay. What this means is this next turn I can just go Steel Tera Drago, Make It Rain, and Tera Blast. So I'm expecting the double up onto Drago, but let's see. Nice. Good, good. Show me the money. Is it Yawn? Nice. Okay. Perfect turn one. Fairy Terra is just a cherry on top. Yeah, we can just send it now. Make It Rain, Terra, Tera Blast. I just hope it KOs Ting-Lu. I'm worried about Ting-Lu actually surviving this combo. Honestly, might. I don't know. AV plus Vessel of Ruin is just so strong. But I think if we get this knockout, Dondozo at best gets a Yawn or Wave Crash off, right? That is such a good trade for us. I'll be up a Pokemon, and they won't have done much damage. So here is the Steel Tera, Tera Blast, super effective. I think Make It Rain should KO with Choice Specs here. Like, this is such a strong attack. Beautiful. Amazing. Okay. That played out perfectly. And this is why Steel Tera is so essential on Drago, right? Like, you just kind of need it to get through these fairy types, because otherwise you're completely walled. And this is why a lot of people are actually now opting for, like, Draco Plate, right? Rather than, like, Choice Specs. Okay, Dondozo Wave Crashes, but it does less than half to Goldengo, which is really nice. This is where Goldengo's bulk plays into, or comes into play. It's 204 HP, 4 defense EV, so, yeah. Okay, Fluttermane comes out. I think this is interesting. So they've got Booster Energy. It's for speed. What do I actually want to do here? Like, I think I could actually go for just Make It Rain and Tera Blast here. The thing is, Flutter with that speed boost is just going to outpace me pretty consistently, right? Yeah, we're hitting 250 here. 264, but if they're just max speed, you should outpace both of these. Or, sorry, no, I'm thinking under Tailwind. Yeah, under Tailwind, you're going to be faster than both still. I mean, I think Shadow Ball into this slot is kind of obvious. I actually think switching to Landers here makes sense. And Terra Blasting. Yeah. The reason for that is because I don't think Landers is actually that important in this battle anymore. I mainly brought it to have like a Ting-Lu answer. I think this is where if I had Urshifu, I would have been really strong. Yeah, we confirm Oblivious, which is good. Okay, Flutter protects. That's fine. Probably a Wave Crash. But then I can bring out... I guess the interesting thing is if I bring out Tornadus, Tailwind isn't even that helpful, is it? But the thing is, Wave Crash here does so much recoil damage to yourself that I honestly don't mind that, because now I can bring out the Torn. Okay. I just wonder if I should be clicking Dragon Pulse / Dragon Energy. But happy to bring out Tornadus now. Wait, with Torn, do we even outspeed max speed Flutter? Because if not, then there's no point in Tailwinding this turn. 266. No, we don't. It's better to Bleak Wind then. Bleak Wind Tera Blast. This also covers for the substitute that they might want to do, but they're actually going to pivot out, okay? Maybe into Iron Hands. Ah, this game actually now gets trickier. Yeah, Hands is not that easy to fight against. It's great damage there, though, and like 1 Dragon Energy now should be very good into them. But great switch. Honestly, my opponent has done such a good job of fighting back in this battle. Because Hands was their last one, it makes me now feel a little bit worse about the way I played with the Landorus. What do they do now? Protect on this feels super obvious. If I switch into Golden Go, they can just Wild Charge that slot. I think I'm happy clicking Tailwind here and pivoting out, though, still. Yeah, kudos to my opponent. I thought after turn 2, I was just in a completely winning position, but the Wave Crash Dozo has been putting in a ton of work, and they played with Flutter super, super well. Okay, Dozo protects. That's fine. Tailwind is set up now, and that's important because now there's no speed boost on the Flutter main. Okay, this is huge. I'm very happy with this turn. Because the thing is with this, you take so much recoil now with your Iron Hands. Yeah. I think I can Dragon Energy and Make It Rain here, but I don't know if locking into Make It Rain is kind of trolling right now. But basically the logic behind that play is if I were my opponent, I would switch Dondozo out right now. And Dragon Energy, Make It Rain just maximizes damage output into everything. The main decision is clicking Shadow Ball, right? But I'm worried about a world in which, like, Hand switches out and then they click Yawn. So, yeah, I think this covers for anything they could do. They actually just stay in with both, which is fine. Yeah, perfect. Okay. They did such a good job of, like, coming back into this battle, though. I think that one pivotal turn was the, yeah, the one pivotal turn was the Protect plus Wave Crash there. Like, or, sorry, Protect Wild Charge. Like, with me setting up Tailwind and pivoting out of the Yawn, that was perfect. I think like Golden Go getting doubled up into there could have made things substantially more awkward for me, but now it's just double steals against Flutter main. But yeah, the booster Flutter made this a little awkward as well, right? Because it meant like none of my Pokemon, even under Tailwind, were going to outpace it because we don't have like max speed investment on Golden Go and the Torn is slower. I mean, even with max speed Golden Go, Flutter might still be faster, so yeah. And they played with Flutter really well. I think like the Protect into the switch was super well done because I think if they got baited into just attacking with Shadow Ball, we should just win the game, right? If we knock out Flutter, then I would have still had Landorus potentially. But they played super well defensively with Flutter to bait me into attacking that slot. So yeah, I think like the main thing about that team is that like Solo Dozo can just like pick up knockouts with Wave Crash and like distribute damage. So that was really scary. But in the end, we were able to weather the storm. Someone said the other day that I said weather the storm a lot, and I was like, you were so right. I don't know why and where that came from, but yeah. But I think that game was interesting because, yeah, like so much about Regidrago is just getting one really powerful Dragon Energy off, and after we bait out of the Terra, we were able to, you know, finish off the Tinglu with the double combo with Tera Blast. We had that one big Dragon Energy into Dozo plus the Hands to just finish them off, and then obviously with Steel Tera, then we match up really well into Flutter. Rank number 11 here. Let's go. It's actually pretty similar to Eric's team, but they do have Iron Hands. No Flutter main. I mean, I see no Flutter main. I think Drago with Steel Tera is so good here, but I don't want to get baited into thinking it can just win. So the problem is I could take the Trick Room approach here, but if I take the Trick Room approach and they bring out Iron Hands, that causes problems for me. Huh. I don't know. I'm thinking Torn Landorus in this one. Drago. Specs Golden Go or Urshifu. I think Specs Golden Go with fast Shadow Ball into their Golden Go is really threatening. It's just Urshifu's so good into Chiyu Landorus. Can make an argument for both, for sure. Okay, I think I'm going to go Golden Go. I think having it for their Golden Go matchup is pretty big, because if I eliminate their Golden Go, Draco can go off. But let's see. Yeah, this is definitely scary. I always love going up against, like, you know, top 30 ranked opponents, because I'm always just curious, like, what top players are using on the ladder. And this team, like, isn't super meta, I would say. Torn Golden Go. Okay, I'm decently happy with that, I think. The problem here is, what do I anticipate from my opponent? Tailwind and just Specs make it rain. I think Water Terra this, make it rain makes sense. Honestly, I think I could Protect and then switch out into Golden Go turn 1, but if they actually, like, hit me with Shadow Ball, that would be a nightmare. So it's a little bit risky. I could Tailwind U-turn as well. I'm just thinking about staggering my Tailwind by a turn in this game. I honestly do like Protect, switch out into Golden Go. But if they Shadow Ball Landorus, kudos to them. I just think Make It Rain here is so tempting. And then the idea, I don't know how fast their Golden Go is. If they're max speed or if they have more than 164 speed EVs, you'll be faster. They actually pivot out, though. That's probably Gyarados? Oh, that's great for us, because now I have Thunderbolt pressure going into turn 2. Nice. Okay. The question is, do I actually want to click Thunderbolt? I mean, if I eliminate Gyarados, that opens the door for Landorus a little bit more. They just Bleak Wind. Interesting. Okay. I think we need a safe Steel Tera for this to have a better Golden Go matchup. I don't also want to Thunderbolt and have them switch out, but T-Wave here is pretty scary. Shadow Ball into Gyarados is the safest option. I actually think I don't hate a Taunt into Gyarados and a Shadow Ball. Because, like, if you can't Thunder Wave, then you're not that scary. Okay, they Tailwind, that's fine. With Mentor, now I can stagger my Tailwind by a turn, which is what I was going for. Honestly, I could stagger it by 2 turns if I just Protect Horn next turn and Shadow Ball Gyarados again. Okay, they Waterfall us, that's fine. Oh, that is not fine. Wait, that did so much. Life Orb! Whoa. Well, I did not expect that. Okay. Interesting. Well, I Tailwind now. Hopefully you're not faster than me, but... Could have Terra'd my Golden Go there, then. Life Orb Gyarados. That's really cool. Okay, Torn switches, so I get Tailwind up. Let's see what they bring out. Chi-Yu. Man, it's looking a little spooky for Drago. Well, not necessarily. I think if you have, like, Torn Drago, it's fine. Sorry, Torn Chi-Yu, it's fine, because Drago can just Dragon Energy both of those. Oh, man, this Life Orb Gyarados is fascinating. It's, gets a crit onto me as well for a knockout. But you could actually argue that benefits me because it gives me a free switch in. So I'm honestly fine with that. But it's probably just max attack, max speed, Life Orb Gyarados. That's cool. That is not a set that people have been using this year. Almost everyone has been using defensive Gyarados with T-Wave, Taunt, Waterfall, and a 4th move. And you run like Citrus Berry, but that was in the previous format. This format's obviously a little bit more fast-paced. So the main thing to think about is that my opponent has not gone for a Terra yet, right? Neither have I. So the debate here is, do I go into Landorus or Drago? I think because we have Water Terra, it has to be Landorus, because it's a really good Terra option now into Chi-Yu plus Golden Go, right? Resisting both of those Pokemon is pretty big. But they go into Torn. If I just brought Drago out here, Dragon Energy would have been so well positioned. Ah, man. That's frustrating. It was like a gamble, right? If I brought out Drago there, then they can Make It Rain Heat Wave, and that's a nightmare for me. And if they had brought Golden Go there, I would have been so well positioned. I do have Scarf U-turn here. Maybe I actually go for that. Scarf U-turn. Shadow Ball. Ah, there's Scarf Chi-Yu. I guess I should have expected that. Man, if I went Water Tera Stomping there, I think I also would have won. I mean, I could still win, right? Because I can just Tera it next turn. It's going to be a close finish, but I think because there's Scarf there, that also messes me up. Yeah, the items here just... And I'm going to take a lot. Oh my... What? And a speed drop. Okay. That one turn alone was... I thought they would Tera Chi-Yu as well. So I didn't want to just Stomping Tantrum, right? Because I'm like, if they defensive Tera there, that can be really rough. We can still maybe win this if they miss Bleak Wind, because I stagger Tailwind by a turn, so I can protect here. Water Tera. Stomping Tantrum. Man, Bleak Wind Chi-Yu. Wow, okay. They're probably just max everything. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was max special attack Tornadus as well. I mean, that was a single target Bleak Wind Storm, and I had the special defense drop. But I think what's frustrating in this game is, like, there were multiple missed opportunities, but the main thing is that my opponent has a lot of good surprises, right? Life Orb, like max speed Gyarados with Shadow Ball Stone Edge, or sorry, Waterfall Stone Edge, max speed, not going to expect that. Scarf Chi-Yu, I maybe could have anticipated that. So, let's see. It's still possible to win if they miss Bleak Wind here on... Because we should survive Heat Wave. Yep. Like, if they miss Bleak Wind and then their choice specs on Golden Go, I think we could still win. Okay, Bleak Wind. Into Protect. Do you connect on Landorus? Alright. Found the win con. It's just frustrating because if I had just gone for Water Tera with Landorus against the Torn Chi-Yu scenario and then just clicked Stomping, we would have been fine, right? Actually, I probably am still done for here. You just Tera this now, and you just Tailwind. So even though I staggered my Tailwind, I assume you're faster with Golden Go. I don't know, though, actually. Like, Golden Go is 125, and we're 132 here. So if you're not max speed Golden Go or more than Modest Drago, we might actually still be able to pull it off. The other part of the problem, though, is I've locked into Stomping at this point. Like, I wonder if Roxai was actually the correct play to go for. Okay, they do Tailwind. Oh my gosh. And they didn't Tera. Wait, they just haven't Terra'd all game. Oh, if I went Dragon Energy... Okay, they're faster anyway. They're just max speed on everything, I'm pretty sure. But I was going to say, yeah, Dragon Energy there could have been better because it would have knocked out the Golden Go and finished, done a little bit of damage in a turn. I think this is just a hyper offense team and like with no defensive EVs. Like if I had to guess, it's just max speed, Modest, Golden Go, max speed, max special attack Tornadus, max attack, max speed Gyarados, and the Chi-Yu. So I think this game was just mainly frustrating because with Torn and Chi-Yu, if I had just brought Regidrago out in that position, I would have been... I actually... I was going to say fairly well off, but I guess they did so much dang damage to me anyway, so maybe I wasn't that well off. But I was thinking, yeah, like they would bring Golden God in that spot. If Golden Go comes out, then the Water Tera Landorus is so well positioned. I probably should have just Water Tera Landorus anyway immediately. Yeah, I was just really expecting like a defensive play from their end, but they didn't even end up tearing and it worked out in their favor. Like, also, I guess their Golden Go was bulky enough to survive Stomping Tantrum. I'm curious how much defense you need to survive that. Like, let's see if you live that with no bulk, because I don't know. So the Landorus has 140 attack EV, so against no bulk Golden Go, which is what I assume my opponent had, Stomping has a 44% chance to get a one-hit knockout. So if we had actually gotten that knockout, then the Dragon Pulse would have been redirected into the Tornadus. Now that being said, I feel like Focus Sash Tornadus is probably fairly likely on that set. So if you're Sash, I don't get the knockout, obviously, with Dragon Pulse, and then I would need to connect on another Dragon Pulse, and that would mean maybe them needing to miss a Bleak Wind Storm. So, yeah, I think, like, the two main turns I can point to in this battle are, one, when I brought out the Landers over Regidrago, and then two, the turn that Landers U-turn, I could have Water Terra there. So I think both of those were turns that I could have improved on. But honestly, I don't really mind losing that battle because my opponent had a lot of cool surprises, whether it be the Gyarados set was probably the most surprising part of all of it, but this amount of speed that they had on everything and the Choice Scarf on Chiyu in particular also very powerful. But yeah, that was honestly a really fun set of games. Had some awesome battles across the board, and I'm happy to have featured the strength of Regidrago. I feel like that first game was honestly a perfect highlight of how powerful it can be, but the Steel Tera Tera Blast was really valuable into a lot of these matchups as well. And so much about Drago is just kind of positioning it so that it can deal a lot of damage, and it's about just finding that one or two big turns where you can get that Dragon Energy off. So yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thanks so much as always for joining me. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Peace.